I wanted to just, chat about Reyna Silver here for a moment. I know you and I have talked about this a lot of time. For anybody who's new, however, to this project, talk about what you guys have, what you're doing, where you are, your big projects, and just tell us all about Reyna.
So we've got 3 projects that we think meet that threshold of high grade district scale. And when we say district scale, we mean everything related to the mineralizing center. Gigi, which I mentioned earlier, that's at the heart of the Santa Eulalia district, which is one of the world's largest carbonate replacement deposits. When we study CRDs, you have your source and you have your distal portion of the system. We know that the distal portion of the system produced 500 million ounces of silver. Where is that source? And are there potential for additional routes of mineralization? So we've done 2 phases of drilling, which we talked about earlier, where we're seeing this big sulfide skarn mineralization event. It's beautifully zoned. We're seeing some of these upper level feeder bleeder structures. And so what we're currently doing is doing some detailed geophysics, because especially considering the market conditions, we want to design holes that are strategic. We're taking a disciplined approach to exploration at all 3 of our projects. But at Gigi, our goal is to use that geophysics and try to see if we can create drill targets that not only continue to look for that source, but see if we can go after some of these upper level structures as well. And then Bata Pilis, which is also in Chihuahua, is historically Mexico's highest grade silver district, which, considering if you look at silver districts who have produced over 10 billion ounces of silver, there's about 15 of them. 9 of them are in Mexico. Mexico is the big silver country, right? This was actually a native silver district. That's what they were mining, was fine native silver. And, when we went out there, we said, okay, we know the historic district has high grade. How much bigger is this system? So we went up into the northeast. We did a trenching program where we got back samples that ran 305 grams to 42 kilo silver, which was just crazy. I mean, they're just like these giant chunks of silver, right? But when we followed that up with drilling, not only did we find additional high-grade silver mineralization, we also found gold for the first time in this district. So when you find an entirely new element to a district that is both a Hollywood problem and something that you have to figure out. That's why we did a big geophysics survey. That's why we did a very detailed structural study to go along with a detailed sampling program, so we could figure out where's the next strategic area and can we sort out where these famous ore shoots came from. And part of the reason we're doing that is because you've got the silver in the historic portion of the district. As we moved up into the northeast, we get the gold, and in between, we get both. They're overlapping. We don't quite know the relationship yet between the two, but they're using the same structures, which allows us to potentially leverage that gold mineralization to find more silver and vice versa. And considering the fact that there's quite a few silver companies that have had to go pick up gold projects to make their market cap, it's kind of nice when your silver project ends up with a gold project inside of it as well. And
kind of a nice little bonus there, honestly.
Oh,
and say, hey, well, we got some gold. Okay.
And mineable widths and grades of gold, right? Like over 36 grams per ton gold, one section that ran over 3.5 meters of over 8 grams per ton gold. And if you go back to that Archie's rule, you use an Archie's cutoff for underground gold of 2 meters at 8 grams per ton gold. Okay, that's something that we should pay attention to and figure out how it fits into this overall district picture. And then our last project, which is Medicine Springs, that's our project in Nevada. Actually, how I got involved with Reyna Silver originally. And we just started drilling on this project that has... I've gone through more than my fair share of carbonate replacement deposit short courses. We have sort of a checklist we look at when we're seeing, okay, is this the kind of project we want to look at for carbonate replacement deposits?
Mm-hmm.
There's 13 features known to big, high-grade systems. And before our first drill hole, we see 10 out of the 13 at Medicine Springs. And you look at this thing and you're going, it's telling me there's something big lurking at depth.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to take that disciplined exploration approach. Let's ask the questions of, do you have the stratigraphy, right? Because if you need to have the magic rock. If you don't have the carbonate, you can't have a carbonate replacement deposit.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the first things that we're doing in our drill program is, do we have the stratigraphy? Our other question is these structures that we get this beautiful anomalous sampling from. I mean, our jasperoids, which are essentially exhaust features, give us results coming upwards of 400 to 1200 grams per ton silver in the exhaust. Okay, how are those structures related at depth? Where's our oxidation level? At which point does it become the sulfides that we care about?
Mm-hmm.
And what are these geophysical anomalies that we see, right? We're trying to ask these questions and we're trying to ask them at scale. So our holes are almost 1 kilometer apart, right? Because we want to ask those questions in multiple locations that say, yes, does this project have the legs? Is it big enough? Is it high grade enough? And is it telling me through the features that you should continue to go here? Does it fit within those other 2 projects? You know, is it a good third leg on your stool, as it were? So, you know, we took a pause in drilling there because of the weather. When the snow really rolls in, time to take a pause.
Mm-hmm.
But that also allows us to take the information we got in this initial part of phase 1, take that information, put it all together, and have even better drill targets for the spring. So I have to be careful to not be too excited about the project, but the geology is definitely it's giggle and decent, and it's lovely to have 3 projects that are all the kind of project that gets the geo nerd out of bed in the morning and excited to write a report or to figure out what the social media posts are going to be. So
I think if you get the geo nerds excited, then investors should get excited, because whenever I've seen geologists get excited, it's very rare, but it does happen. And it's always a good sign that, hey, there's something there. So thank you, Lauren, so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me and having this lovely conversation today.